Hi, I'm Meera Allen with your Manifesting Destiny Moon Update. So, a little bit late on the moon updates, and I've been traveling, so I'm a little bit jet lagged, but I'm getting over that now. And I just wanted to check in with all of you on how you're feeling about this Pisces full moon that we had yesterday. So, bringing up everything in terms of your emotions, a completion in all your cycles, as well as what your feelings were really bringing to the surface, what was actually coming up for you in the last couple of days. So, I realized something that a lot of astrologers and intuitives on YouTube, we do lead up to what's about to happen in these events, but sometimes we forget about the aftermath. I myself have been traveling so much, so there's been an aftermath of, how much sleep do I have, do I need? What do I need in my physical conditions? Now, this Pisces full moon really does amplify so much about those watery parts of us, the feelings, the water intake that we have. And you think of Pisces, it's the last sign of the zodiac, so it's the most evolved in some ways and the most conscious and the most kind of aware as well. That's why the intuition is really heightened, especially around this current full moon that we have. But what I also noticed strongly this trip, I've noticed the amount of fire. We've had the sun in Leo, so the fires at Mount Shasta, shout out to everyone at Mount Shasta, the fires in Greece. So, just looking at where have your fires been? Where has your own motivation been? What's been your fueling you lately? What are your fires? What food do you find has been giving you more energy? Where do you actually use the element of fire? In cooking, in lighting candles, or in your work, in engines, in combustion. How's your car running? How are your fires going? So just that awareness and that balance between that full moon that we just had in Pisces and all that watery feeling and emotions, but with all that energy in the Leo, in the lion, in the fires. So putting those fire and water elements together. Now, as we're coming off that full moon in Pisces and that completion and what's come up for you, there's been a lot of shifting and moving and finishing and end of cycles, end of relationships, end of career paths and shifting. So in that shifting from a higher conscious level where we're all moving in a fluid motion together in a kind of a symbiotic flow, we're coming to a new moon in Virgo. So the next 13 days, what have we shed in a very Virgo way? We're starting to look at what are our habits every single day. I myself booked into the hairdressers and got a lot of my hair, tidied up and trimmed and fixed up and shed quite a lot. What is it in your Virgo, in your time management, in your daily earthing skills? What do you eat? What are your daily habits of what you eat and drink? What is it for you that gives you that daily grounding? How do you feel about your physicality in your body? So these are the things that you want to go and look at those little details, for the physical being. It's like, is there a particular organ or a particular area of my body that I really want to focus on? And what is it that you learnt in the amplification of that full moon in Pisces? What was drawn out to the surface that was really made really apparent, that you could actually have the awareness around? Was it an emotion, a feeling, a part of the physical well-being? Was it a shift, a change, whatever it was? Was it a situation that was happening to you or you were part of? Was it a place that you traveled to, or was it a place within yourself that you went, oh, this is what I really want to bring more awareness to myself? So for me personally, it was a lot about deservability. Thanks, Rosky. And thanks, Tata, the makeup. So Hitomi, shout out to you in New York. Darnell, a real shout out to you in your disciplines and your shift. So just a shift in what came up for you that was amplified this full moon, what it brought to the surface emotionally, and now we're on the downhill from that for the next 12, 13 days as we come to a new moon in Virgo. And I'll do a new moon video in Virgo for you. Thank you for those of you that are so patient with me, and just all of you that have been there for me for the last few years, And as we come into this next transition, this next shift, as we change seasons, so for the northern hemisphere, shifting into the colder as we come to this new moon in Virgo, and then for the southern hemispheres, we're shifting into the warmer weather as we come to spring. So really a time of shifts, but what is it that what do we need to let go of? Is it physical objects? Is it things, possessions, hair? What is it? It's old beliefs, old habits. Is it drugs or alcohol or change of diet? What is it for you that you really go, I need to shed all this stuff before the next new moon in Virgo? So what amplified for you in the aftermath of that full moon? What gave you that clarity because it came up through your feelings and your emotions, and you were like, wow, I've got a charge around this thing, or I've got a charge around that particular person. What is it that can help you smooth those things to ease and grace so that you enter the next new moon with complete ease and grace? I mean, it's not an easy time. We've just come off all that eclipse season, so that would have really, that resonates for 6 months after those eclipses, so it brings up a lot. After all those eclipses, after all that, looking at the dark side and cleaning all those things up and letting them come to the fore, and then going, okay, right, pick yourself back up, and where is it that I can shift in consciousness? We're all going through it. None of us are separate. This idea that we're all individual, like we're all, black, white, brown, different colours, different genders. At the end of the day, our soul doesn't see that. Our souls are so pure. So if you think about all us humans as one soul, completely one energy, if that person's going through suffering, or if they're inflicted suffering toward you, they're just that one soul that's part of you, and that part of you is in suffering too. So this is where the Buddha talks about compassion. So use the next 12 to 13 days in a really compassionate way towards yourself, so you can grant that to others. It's pretty amazing. If you need to have those disciplines and habits within yourself, going to the gym in about half an hour, so you've got the sports bra on, ready, have that compassion and that daily discipline for yourself. So think about that in the more the Virgo sense. What is where is your time management, your daily habits that make you or break you? Are those daily habits adding to who you are and your well-being as a solid person to help the collective consciousness, one soul that we all really are? Or is it, creating havoc and chaos? So have a look at where that is. And because we've just had the sun in Leo, look at where the drama in your life was, where the fire energy was around you that may have been too much fire or too little fire. Were you damp? Did you need to increase your energy and get less away from the dampness? And the Chinese talk about that in the dampness in the body. In the Vedic way of looking at it, we look at it, in the Ayurvedic way of looking at it, we look at it as like mold or dampness or tamasic, going into the darkness and not leaving the room. Come out of that and see where the fires can bring you balance. If you're too rajasic, probably me, being out there with too many people, too many flights, too much energy, where do you need to come back in? So creating a balance, even just looking at it as the rajas and the tamas and sattvas. So in the 3 constitutions. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please Google dosha, D-O-S-H-A, and it's just the 3 most basic fundamental constitutions that make up the physicality of your being, which uses all of our elements, including ether. So be aware of the etheric part of you as well, which is where we come to our subtle and our spiritual self, which is the common thread between all humans and all inanimate and animate objects. So if you want to look at it from a scientific perspective, that's the quantum field, that life force that permeates everything. The more we tune into that, the subtle energy between matter and non-matter, when we start to go into that space, whether it's through a meditation, whether it's through music, whether it's through art, whether it's through just being repetitive with something that gives you a very strong connection to your inner peace and rhythms, this is where you're starting to connect into your ethers. This starts to take you into a sattvic constitution. Sat means truth. The sattvic is the balanced, harmonized mixture of the elements within your body. You haven't got too much air, you haven't got too much earth, you haven't got too much fire, you haven't got too much water. You feel a nice sense of balance. And this is what we are all striving to, hopefully before the end of our death, of this particular lifetime. Now, that was a lot. Wasn't expecting for that to come out through this moon update. Happy full moon for those of you that had it and enjoyed it and celebrated it in Pisces, and happy birthday to the Pisces as well that did enjoy that, and to the Leos. And we're coming to this Virgo time now. Let's get those habits in place and enjoy the next 12, 13 nights as we wane away with the waning moon from this full moon in Pisces. My name is Meera Allen. Hope you enjoyed, and thank you, Inge. I hope that's how I say your name right. My number one, who's been with me from the very beginning of all these Manifesting Destiny moon updates. I am going to be more intuitive with these as my schedule gets busier and as I travel more. I love you all dearly. Just so much gratitude. Shout out to my parents that are in Cuba at the moment, and to all of you, I'm so grateful that you follow the rhythm that's seen out there in broad daylight. You know, the sun and the moon, these giant dots. And how you feel those. And apply those. The people that I've connected to, especially in the last fortnight, you know who you are. You've touched me in ways I cannot even explain. Shout out to Portland, to Victoria Island, Grace, Mariana, Logan, Hitomi-san, Nai, Darnell, Charachandra, Namaste. And if I've forgotten you guys, Alaska, so much love and gratitude. Keep looking at that giant dot in the sky that shifts and changes and moves as we all shift and change and move. A special shout out to Reiki.